It cost twice as much as the Taj Mahal. It took 7 years and the finest jewels on earth to build. It held the Koh-i-Noor, at the time the most famous diamond in the world, as just one stone among thousands. And then, in a single year, a foreign invader carried the whole throne out of Hindustan and broke it apart, until the most expensive object ever made by human hands simply ceased to exist. Its jewels scattered across the world. You can still go and see the Koh-i-Noor today, set in a crown in London. But the throne itself? Gone. Melted. Pried apart. Lost. This is the story of the Peacock Throne and how the Mughals lost it. The man who ordered it was Shah Jahan, the same emperor who built the Taj Mahal for his wife. But where the Taj was white and silent, this would be loud with wealth. Soon after taking the throne, he commanded his jewelers to gather the imperial treasury, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, pearls hoarded by his father and grandfather, and pour it all into a single seat of power. It would take them 7 years. The court chroniclers described it in awe. A platform of solid gold, raised on 12 emerald pillars. Above it, a canopy, and over the canopy, 2 peacocks, their tails fanned and studded with blue sapphires, green emeralds, and pearls, so that the birds seemed to shimmer and move in the light. Between them, a tree heavy with gems. Set into the throne were the legendary stones, the Timur ruby and the Koh-i-Noor itself. They called it the Takht, the throne. But a European jeweler who stood before it simply called it the richest thing he had ever laid eyes on. And here is the strange part. For all its fame, no painting we have can be proven to show it exactly. The grandest throne ever built survives almost entirely in words, in the accounts of the handful of men who saw it with their own eyes. This was not vanity. In the Mughal world, the throne was the state. To sit on a mountain of jewels, beneath shimmering golden peacocks, was to tell every ambassador, every rival, every subject one thing. There is no wealth on earth that does not, in the end, flow to this seat. For 100 years, emperors were crowned on it. Shah Jahan, then Aurangzeb, then the lesser kings who came after them. And as those later kings grew weaker, the throne stayed exactly as dazzling, which made it a target. Here's the rule of history that the Mughals forgot. A treasure is only safe while the people who own it are strong. By the early 1700s, the empire that built the Peacock Throne was rotting from the inside. Weak emperors, rebel governors, an army that could no longer defend its own capital. The throne was still the richest object on earth, but the men sitting on it could no longer protect it. Far to the west, someone was about to notice. His name was Nadir Shah, a warlord who had clawed his way to the throne of Persia, a brilliant, brutal commander often called the Napoleon of the East. In 1739, he marched east, crossed into Hindustan, and shattered the Mughal army in a single afternoon. Then he entered Delhi. What happened next is one of the darkest days in the city's history. After a rumor that he had been killed, his soldiers turned on the population, and tens of thousands were slaughtered in the streets in a single day. The emperor could only beg him to stop. Nadir Shah stopped, for a price. He emptied the imperial treasury. He took the accumulated wealth of 7 generations of Mughals, gold, jewels, the Koh-i-Noor, and the Peacock Throne itself. The plunder was so vast that when he returned to Persia, he cancelled taxes across his entire empire for 3 years. He didn't need them. He had carried Hindustan's wealth home on the backs of elephants and camels. The Mughal Empire never recovered, financially, militarily, or in pride. And the throne? Here is where it slips out of history. Nadir Shah did not enjoy his prize for long. In 1747, he was assassinated by his own officers, and in the chaos that followed, his empire was torn apart by men grabbing whatever they could. The original Peacock Throne, the real one, Shah Jahan's masterpiece, was broken up, pried apart for its stones, melted for its gold. It simply ceased to exist. Later Persian kings built their own thrones and borrowed the famous name. But the object the Mughals made, 7 years, an empire's fortune, golden peacocks that shimmered like living birds, is gone. Only the descriptions survive and the scattered stones. The Koh-i-Noor travelled on, through Persia, Afghanistan, the Sikhs, and finally into a crown in London, where it sits to this day. The grandest seat of power ever built outlived its empire by less than a decade. The Mughals believed wealth was power. The Peacock Throne proved the opposite, that wealth without the strength to hold it is just an invitation. If stories like this are why you love history, subscribe. The paintings in this film survive in museum archives around the world. A few of them live on at auraliving.com.